Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the new moon. We are looking at the new moon in Virgo, September 17th, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we're going to take a look, as usual, at the astrology chart. A little quick look at the symbol allegory, the Sabian symbol for this new moon, just because it helps put a little context. It's what we astrologers use to do a bit of prediction. And then we're, of course, going to do the cards and a one-card reading for you for each sign. So here we go. All right, I'm doing this a few days in advance of the new moon, so I'm feeling it coming. I'm feeling something more optimistic. The energies have been pretty heavy and a bit dark, as a lot of you probably have noticed. I would say, yeah, this last week of August, first couple weeks of September have been a little rough. And I get a feeling of the air clearing, at least around this new moon, mid-September, for this 2-week period. So let's just take a look. So going to, of course, use our sage. And I highly recommend, this is a great time of year to do your saging. You know, the windows can still be open, the air's fresh. You can purge a few things, get yourself organized, which is a very Virgo thing to do. And burn your sage and just clear any debris, any energetic debris from in, on, and around you that might have accumulated during this rough patch that a lot of people had around the last new moon and full moon. Alrighty, and of course I like to cleanse the cards. All right. So we're just focusing on a general reading for the month of September, the new moon of September 17th. And it extends a few days before, and it can extend even a couple of weeks after, up until the full moon. So here we go. So the first card here is the Four of Swords, and if you've watched many of my other videos, this card's been coming up quite a bit. It's the card of truce. It means, you know, take a look at all those blue and yellow line formations, little wings, apparently, that are floating and flying all around. But in the midst of that, you have this green light that is around each sword, and it meets in the middle at a lotus flower, and it's Jupiter in Libra. And this means a time of sitting down and talking things through, making compromises, coming to solutions, laying down your battles, talking things out. It's a respite in the middle of a conflict. It's a chance to renegotiate. It's if that's not applicable, then sometimes it's just a card of socializing, which is wonderful too. So pleasant networking and socializing, otherwise ironing out your differences. The next card is the Five of Wands, which suggests the opposite. It's a card of, it says strife, Saturn in Leo, everybody's ego is running crazy. There's too many cooks in the kitchen, and there's arguing and fighting going on. We'll take a look what the other cards are going to say, but these first two are contradictory. You know, it's sort of like, do you talk it out and work it out? Or is it time to cut and leave, or cut cords, cut ties? And you might be wondering exactly that. The next card here is the Eight of Wands, so Mercury in Sagittarius, which is usually very direct. Calling it like it is, not really thinking too hard about it, just comes out of your mouth. But also optimistic, more positive. Sometimes it's a card of short day trips or travels. But, you know, in a time like COVID, maybe that's not so applicable to so many people. I'm going to say it's more the optimistic, the rainbow side, the arrows pointing everywhere, the colors. You know, it's sort of asking, if you want to get through this conflict zone, you have to open your mind. You have to err on being more optimistic and you know, entertaining ideas or people that might be more diverse or different than you, and allowing for people to be their quirky, weird selves could be part of how you negotiate whatever conflicts are going on. All right, next is Nine of Cups. That's good. See, the happiness card. The cups are flowing, the water's flowing from all the lotuses, and they crisscross and they intermarry, and it's a card of a group that is, or a family, or a, you know, organization if it's business. It's the card where everybody meets and comes together and realizes that everything and everyone are connected. So it looks to me very positive for getting over the conflict card here, that there's a lot of things happening that'll help. Now, Seven of Cups is our next card, and the seven is where you get things stagnating emotionally. It even looks a bit like a virus, doesn't it? So we're talking about, you know, mid to late September, this 2-week period. So hopefully this is not a sign that the virus resurges in this time, but we have to all be careful. We have to all keep our masks on and wash our hands. Emotionally, though, in terms of dealing with conflicts or relationships, you know, do I or don't I? Do I leave? Do I stay? Do I talk it out with the person or not? The Seven of Cups means that the underlying issues are heavy. There's some underlying problems yourself or the people that you're involved with that are psychologically and emotionally very deep and don't get solved usually very easily, not very quickly, and usually require some outside intervention or help or therapy. For example, maybe you're having a conflict with somebody and you're all open to solving it, and you make some headway and you feel some bonding, but it still doesn't take away the fact that maybe somebody's gambling, or maybe somebody is really struggling with their mental health and not getting some help. Or maybe somebody is got some sexual problems that needs some help, you know. So the Seven of Cups goes really deep. Why and when did things start stagnating emotionally that led to the conflicts that are happening now? So that's asking you to sort of excavate and go back to the roots, to the deeper reasons. It's you know, these cards are optimistic. They still require some work. They're not a band-aid, one talk and, oh, okay, we're good. It doesn't look like that. It looks like it's time to address the deeper things going on to get your real answer. Now, we have the Ten of Swords after that, which is ruin, which means sort of the end of the line. You know, I can't say for everybody watching a video, you know, whose conflict is going to end, who's going to leave, and who's going to stay. But this does speak of, you know, things ending, things being too much to bear. By the time you get to the Ten of Swords, you see how small that little heart is, and it's trying to radiate some sunshine and some light, but all the swords are piercing at it. So it really depends if you're relating to this card or not. If you feel this way, if you feel profoundly misunderstood, no matter what you've said, you know, it might be time to go. If you feel that you're being ganged up on or persecuted in some way, and like for real, it's not just in your mind, it might be time to go. You know, if somebody else around you is feeling like this, and you're trying to bring harmony to a group or a couple again, you got to check, is this how they're actually feeling deep down? That goes with the Seven of Cups. What are the underlying deeper roots of these feelings that are causing the conflicts? Otherwise, you won't solve it. You know, a band-aid only lasts so long before it all comes up again. Now, our next card is the Ten of Cups. Ten of Cups is usually my emotional burnout card. It's In other decks, it's like the happy family card, but in this deck, you can sort of clearly see. If you look at the bottom, it looks like a neck, and if you look at the rest, it looks like a head. And if you see it that way, it's also, all the cups are placed in the same place as the tree of life. And at the very top, you have like this foggy cloud, and you also have Mars. Maybe it's hard to see. Mars is on that top cup, and it's in Pisces, and that Mars in Pisces is not in its strength. It's Mars needs to be like a firebolt. It needs to decide and act with gusto, without, you know, thinking twice. And Pisces is very watery and foggy and dewy and ooh, I don't know. And so Mars in Pisces is not good at taking action or decisions, and so it gets all fogged out, or it starts to add too many things to the plate, too many emotions, too many things, too many options, and like starts to feel spaced out, overwhelmed, tired. So that tells me, on the heels of the Seven of Cups and the Ten of Swords, there could be some old trauma coming up right now. And if you feel like you're spacing out a lot or feeling overwhelmed as you're trying to get to the bottom of some things with people, again, it's really a time to pull back, take care of yourself, and think about maybe counseling or talking to somebody that you can get a good grounded feedback, realistic feedback outside of the family group or the business or, you know, the couple or whatever this is applying to. Objective, grounded help or feedback. Now, the next card is our Prince of Discs, which Crawley did not like this guy. He's sort of self-indulgent, a bit lazy. He likes, you know, if it feels good for him, if it makes life easy for him, he'll take it. He doesn't want to have to work too hard. He's, yeah, he's just sort of a guy who's like, yeah, it's good to be king. Yeah, sure, you know. Sure, if you want to do that for me, yeah, okay, fine. Doesn't appreciate stuff very much. You can see that he's sort of sitting sideways. He's carrying, or has his hand on this big globe. He's carrying a staff with the ball and scepter. So he's got some power. He's got a crown. But he's sitting there naked, and he's sort of half sitting there, half not. And it's basically this bull who's carrying him forward, who needs to be in control because he's not. So, you know, this can apply to someone else we could think of. But if this applies to someone in your life, then they're implicated in the situation somehow. Okay, if they're implicated in previous trauma, and this is who you're trying to heal from and forgive, if they're currently in your life right now, you're not going to get much out of this guy. He's not going to suddenly be accountable. He's not going to suddenly step up. He might need consequences for his actions, you know. I'm not talking severe jail and stuff like that. I mean, hopefully not. But just hold this person accountable. Whether you're healing from the past or it's in the present, this is the guy who needs to grow up and be responsible. So if you're trying to heal from something or solve something, then you hold that person accountable and responsible. Which doesn't mean blaming everything on them. It's only for their part, for their genuine part. Now we end off with the Nine of Discs, which is all about the money. Interesting. All about material gain. Venus in Virgo. If we think about it as just the material gain side, I'm not sure whether there's some, you know, some of this conflict actually has some money tied to it for you or for someone else. Usually it would be a sign of gaining money, earning or gaining. In this case, there's conflicts and there's money. I don't know. Is this damages? Is this asking for some sort of compensation? Is this, you know, is materialism and money bringing some sort of shadow side to this conflict? Could be. But if we focus on the Venus and Virgo aspect, it's all about the details. Venus and Virgo, purification, everything must be pure. Everything needs to be ordered. Everything needs to be named. Everything needs to be accounted for. So there's this strong feeling in this reading today for this new moon of being on the fence about whether you want to go deep diving into a relationship or group dynamic. How deep are you willing to go, you know, to preserve this, or to point something out, or to hold someone accountable? How deep are you willing to go in yourself to heal something if it's old stuff coming up? The Venus and Virgo at the end, you know, especially after the Mars and Pisces card, that's how you get out of it. You know, if you're feeling all overwhelmed, spaced, too many things are going on at once, usually you can't put your mind in order with Mars and Pisces, and then you have Venus and Virgo that says, okay, so first we're going to do that, and then it's this, and then, and that's called that, and that is why, and so it's very hard to get from, you know, I don't know, energy to next I'm going to do, and then, and this, and that's why, right? You go from the mind being foggy to the mind in order. So it could mean that during this new moon phase, there's just a challenge with people, with conflict that comes up, and it's going to have the potential of bringing up a lot of old trauma. And depending on your reaction or other people's reaction, then the answer or the guidance, I think, for this reading is to try your best to not space out and get yourself, keep yourself grounded in the details. And also, because it's a money card, pay attention to your money and your budgets. If that has any you know, implication in these issues that you have. I think I want to pull one more card just for our final advice for this new moon, because it's feeling complex more than I thought. So the last bit of advice is the Sun card. And that again is, to me, a healing card. It's your inner child. It's choosing to be joyful. It's honoring your need to shine. You deserve to shine. And honor that inner child that wants to shine and wants to speak. And that, let that be your guiding light through whatever comes in or around or at you. Because it's just temporary, but it has the potential to open maybe Pandora's box for some people. But we don't have to let it come and overwhelm us and overtake our lives, you know? It can, and it can knock you out, but it doesn't have to. So think right now, if it hasn't happened to you already, or you're not already going through it, think right now, okay, if I start feeling this way, overwhelmed, spaced out, can't think straight, what do I know that I can do that helps me come back down to earth? What things can I focus on? Can I go for a walk outside? You know, do I need to play the piano? Do I need to go back to my favorite audiobook? Is there something that grounds me? Think about that in advance. It's a good thing to have in general, no matter what's going on, right? Know the things that bring you back to earth, bring you back to yourself. So let's just take a quick look then at the astrology chart of the month. Of the new moon. So we have the sun and the moon at 25 degrees Virgo, and there's a Sabian symbol, allegorical symbol for that, which is a flag at half mast, which is interesting considering the cards. You know, it's when the flag is at half mast, right? Obviously, we know that there's been a loss, and the flag is flying low to honor the loss. So this isn't, to me, predicting that there's going to be, you know, literal losses in terms of death or something scary. But I would say it's a metaphor to think about honoring whatever else you've lost. And if there's any conflicts, like we said, arising, or you realize it's time to move on, or you've outgrown something or someone, then the half mast can just be a way to honor the whatever grieving you're doing about that. And the good news is that this sun and moon in Virgo are making a very good aspect to our main three power punch planets this whole year of 2020. Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto in Capricorn, all just that came along to and converged in January of 2020 and for this whole year, are provoking a lot of structural change in our world. So the sun and the moon are working well with that right now. And what's that mean? Well, it basically means a sign of moving forward. It's a good sign that things are on track and moving forward for change. So it's important to allow those changes and not resist the changes that are coming up. The sun and moon are also opposite Neptune, and that's where we can again get that foggy, spacey kind of, you know, buzzed out, weird feeling. If we feel that Neptune opposition, it's something that wants to cloud things, that wants to make them idealized or whitewash them or escape or run from them. You know, whenever true change happens and comes up, where you're actually asked to act, not just think about it, talk about it, plan, blah, blah, blah about it, when it's actually time to say, okay, now do it. Okay, life's actually changing now, it's moving on. It's normal to be scared. You know, even if you know it's for the good, it's normal to be scared. So if you're scared of moving forward, that's where you're probably going to feel this Neptune, like, ooh, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's not the time. No, I think it's a sign, I shouldn't, you know, and you might sabotage a chance to really take a step forward when all of these other planets are going together in the earth sign of action, concrete action. Now, Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn in Capricorn are also squaring off with Mercury. Mercury's in Libra right now, and it wants everything to be diplomatic and said nicely and play fair. But as we mentioned, there's a conflict about. So the best case scenario for right now is to try to be as diplomatic as possible, and negotiations, not pleasantries. You know? Libra can be very good at mediating and making sure things are said and fair, but a lot of the time Libra will err on the side of wanting things to go away and be sort of nice all over again, even if it's not really solved. So you have to use this Mercury square and be very diplomatic right now where you can, without, like I said, whitewashing. Now, the other thing is Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, and Mercury are all fighting off Mars, which has gone retrograde in Aries. So again, like we've seen all of this Mars and Aries in the last, month or so. And, it's brought some tension out, some anxiety out, and now it's going retrograde, so it's sort of going inwards. There's still like frustration in the air, a little less volatile, but it's still potentially volatile. It's just not a little more how would you say that? There's a little more vibe in the air of like, calm it down a bit, please. And so it goes inward. So again, we want to just focus on really speaking from the heart, speaking truthfully from the heart in a diplomatic way. There's ways of being truthful and kind, not brutal. That whole brutally honest thing, it's either brutal or it's honest. Brutal is not good. Usually it's not good. Being too nice and too flowery doesn't get the point across either, though. So it's really going to be the art of how you say things right now. Now we also finally have Chiron opposite Mercury as well. Chiron's the wounded healer in Aries, and it's connecting to this Mars, and it's opposing this Mercury. So again, like, it really heightens this feeling of an old wound and the need, you know, wanting to maybe lash out, express, burst out the anger that's been sitting inside forever, perhaps. But all of that Libra and Capricorn is sort of like, gives me a feeling of like, yeah, don't burst and blow. Do it with your friends, vent, write it out, sing it out, run, do whatever you have to get it out of your system. But when you actually deliver your message, you want to be more firm and fair and calling it what it is, but in a gentle way as possible. And we also have Venus in Leo, so that can help you be courageous, that can help you be bold, can help you shine. It could also be a sign of like, be careful of your ego. You don't want to come across too overconfident and piss people off. And it's also square Uranus and Taurus. So yeah, I'm not so worried about that aspect for some reason. Normally people would say, oh, you know, very, very fickle emotionally, or, you know, little outbursts or standoffs about Venus-related things. So it can be money, it can be your tastes and different things, what you want versus what they want, you know, like, and it could get a bit petty, but I feel for some reason there's a deeper undertone to the month than there is than that. So don't let it get petty, okay? You know, if there's conflicts around you or things bugging you, try to get in touch with what's really bugging you and say that, not, oh, you know, I don't like that color of your shirt right now, and start being passive aggressive or petty when really you're angry because of something else that happened. You know, try not to make it about surfacey, petty things, because it's never the real reason. So this new moon is, I feel like, again, I still feel a lightness coming out of it. I still feel something releasing. And so it can be an amazing time to take a look at these deeper issues with why things are not working on any kind of relational level. And if you really focus on how to communicate this well, then you're going to release something old, and it will make you feel better. Because there's cards of shining in here too. The Sun card came up. Venus in Leo is coming up. There's happy rainbow cards. Okay, so there's this feeling of like, you want the best for yourself. You want to bring out your true self. You want to shine. And you might feel like blocked by people or other, you know, relationship dynamics that aren't quite working, and you feel like it's blocking you and you can't. And so you got to really just look at that and try not to get petty and point fingers and just be like, well, how can I shine more? What do I need to do? And if that means stepping away or taking a hiatus or having a conversation with somebody that feels like it's hindering, then maybe it's time to have that conversation. But it's towards healing and bringing out your inner child and your inner wisdom and your shining. So let's take a look, and our next video is going to give one card readings for every sign for this new moon phase. Hello, and we're back for the new moon reading for your sign. So when I pull a card, I'm pulling it for in and around the new moon. That can be a few days before, it can be a week or 2 weeks after, but it's sort of this little window, you know, between maybe like September 14, 13 or 14 and the next full moon, which I believe is October, I think it's October 1st. It's early October. So we're looking at what does the rest of September look like for your sign, okay? Now, I'm just going to burn a little more sage. And I'm just going to plug that one more time because I'm a big believer in cleansing at this time of year. I think it's a wonderful time to open the windows, sage, get rid of things, organize yourself, your closets, your fridge, your clothes, your whatever, your routines, revamp, planting a seed for the fall winter chapter as we go into the yin cycle on the September solstice, which is soon, which is why I'm saying cleanse and ground yourself and prepare yourself to go to the feminine yin cycle for the next half a year. All right, so here is your September card. So Aries, here we go. Oh boy. Aries, you've got the Devil card. All right, so you're dealing with somebody, and that could be yourself, looking at the devil is sort of the shadow side of our nature, meaning, you know, the bad habits, the addictions, the control issues, anywhere we are covert or we manipulate or we're hanging on hoping that it's all going to be fine, even though we know deep down it's not. It's you got to question sometimes your motives. Are they really that pure during this time? And if it's not you dealing with yourself, then you're dealing with someone who is like the devil. Which doesn't mean evil, but it means you might be dealing with someone who's got problems with, as I mentioned, addiction, control, manipulation, coming from a low-minded place. You know, the devil is very sexy, very magnetic, knows how to get what it wants, but it doesn't always have the highest-minded goals. You know, it can be like greed, very good at getting what it wants, but unethically. You know, it's so, if there's somebody about like this in your life, or if it's you, it's, you know, the devil is followed by the tower. There's always a wake up, there's always a cleanup, there's always a detox, there's always a gotcha. So this is your warning, you know, not to let it go there. Prevent that if you can. All right, Taurus. Taurus, very nice. You've got the Peace card, Two of Swords. So it's very nice. The moon is in Libra, in love with love, wants to get along, wants to be just thinking about us, you know, the nice things in life, pleasant chats, talking about, I don't know, how you're going to decorate your new house, whatever it is. As you can see, the cards are very mellow, very soothing. So you're looking at a nice time. You know, Virgo supports Taurus. It's your, Virgo is your romantic house in your chart. So I would say with these lovely wings around and this lotus in the middle, there's a meeting of minds. There's a nice chill time for you right now, which is great. Gemini. Okay, Gemini, you're getting my Ten of Cups burnout card. I went into this more in depth in the first part of the video, so if you want to go back and get more information again about the Ten of Cups on my September new moon video. But I'll state it again that This looks like a head with the neck at the bottom. The cups are all arranged in the Tree of Life formation. The top of it is red like a fog, like a brain. And all of the light or the water is radiating from one cup, so that one cup is supposed to fill and feed all of the other 9. And it is overwhelmed and it is burnt out. Now, the card says satiety, but it basically means things are as full as it can get before you burst. So Gemini, if you right now, Virgo squares your sign, even though they're both Mercury, you're both Mercury ruled. Ask yourself if you're adding too much to your own plate, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling spaced out at all. If you can't think straight, you're doing too much. You've got to rest. Cancer. Ooh. Cancer, very nice card. We have the Witch, we have the Alchemist, the Art card, Temperance. So she has got her eagle and her lion helping her with her brew. She has her cup and her fire in the other hand. She's full of both yin and yang. She knows how to mix all things together to create what she wants. And it's a card of timing. This is a card of like a cook blending every ingredient perfectly to get the results she wants. So right now, Cancer, this is what you have to think of as a metaphor for your life. What are you cooking up in your life? What kind of spell are you casting? What things are you doing in combination to arrive at the kind of life or results that you want? And you can employ all of the tools and tricks and little things that you know in order to do that, because this card has a bit of magic to it. That's a nice message. Leo. Leo, you have the Eon card, or in other decks, the Judgment. Now, this means you need to take a step forward. There's something calling you to make a final decision, and to finally call a spade, or say, you know what, I am going to do this. Or I am committing to, or I declare out loud to people that I am. That's what this card is about. There's the figure that you see sort of like this. And then there's the shaman sitting there inside. Now you have to contact that inner shaman, that inner wisdom, and get out of the, oh, I don't know, I'm not sure. Don't play dumb, don't play naive. Don't pretend you're not as powerful as you are. Okay? It's time for you to make a decision to move your life forward and to say it out loud to somebody. Not just yourself. This isn't it can be, but it's much more powerful in this case if you have somebody witness it, or you say it out loud to at least one person. You know what? I'm going to do this. Or I am this. This is who I am. Declare something. All right, Virgos. Virgo, you have the High Priestess this month, so this is lovely. She is all about creating a different paradigm. Look at the lines that are all square and grid-like below. She waves her arms and it all is round, like crescent moons, endless crescent moons above her head. This priestess knows how to trust herself, her own intuition. She knows that she will just know what to do. She knows that she might have a dream that reveals what she needs to do, or who somebody truly is, or what's next. And she draws on the wealth of her past lives, her present lives, her intuition, any signs she's getting to trust what to do next on their path. And it's a time, usually when this shows up, it's a time of growth on the path. Like, it's a time of spiritual growth. It's not about so much practical steps as, oh, I need to buy this, or I need to get that done, or I need to it's usually more like a soul calling type of decision that's coming up. So this is a really nice card, especially since it's your birthday month. Libras, 5 of Cups. There is a emotional disappointment or a breakup or a separation. And you're feeling down about not getting along with somebody, or a misunderstanding or a fight that happened. And Mars in Scorpio means that that's a pretty deep feeling. It could mean feeling even manipulated, betrayed. You know, there's sometimes Mars in Scorpio wants to get a bit of revenge, which is not a good idea. But there you have it. The cups are empty. They make a formation of a pentagram upside down, and they face dark waters. So there's the temptation to deal with disappointment in a destructive way to yourself and others, and you have to guard against that. It sort of fits in with the main reading that we got for this new moon, of how to handle conflicts well. Beneath the waters, though, you can see that the lotus stems are forming a butterfly under the deep waters. And as I've mentioned before, Libra usually doesn't really want to go diving in the deep waters. And I'm always advising that you do, because even if you're not completely comfortable there, that is where the deeper problems get solved. It doesn't get solved in your mind ping-ponging, maybe it's this or maybe it's that. It gets solved in the emotions by going deeper. So it's asking you to go deeper, and you're going to feel maybe a lot of funky emotions this month because it's asking you that. But if you really want to save or revive a relationship that is distressing you, that's what you're going to need to do. All right, Scorpio. Okay. The Empress. So a very fertile card, creative card. Can be about babies, children, giving birth in general to projects, creative ideas. She is like a spiritual mother to people. She's taking care on the physical level, but also the emotional and spiritual level. And she's between these moons. She's got the swans and the little baby. She's got her coat of arms. She's got her lotus. She's got her green and her pink for the heart chakra. So Scorpio, it seems to me a happy time of bonding, nurturing, whether that's yourself or others around you. If it's literally a baby, that's great. And it doesn't mean to baby other people. It's like think about your highest ideal of a spiritual mother. What does that look like? You know, and maybe people are going to come to you for your wisdom this month. But you yourself, I'm getting a feeling, are taking care of yourself well. And so you can nurture yourself this month too. Think about what things would feed your soul. It's going to be very nice for you. The heart is wide open. The connections are all there. Sagittarius. Queen of Wands. Don't mess with this chick. She's got her wand. It's very long. It's very powerful. It would hurt. She's got her cheetah. She's controlling this animal with her hand. This lady is powerful. Don't mess with her. So, is that you? Are you the one not to mess with? Is there someone else around you who's like this? If you're dealing with somebody who's that strong and you're not getting along with her, Lord help you, because she's very dominant. If you are getting along with her, amazing. You can move mountains together, literally. If it's you, and you're not acting in your own power, taking charge, then you need to. And if you are already, and things are going well for you, keep going. And if you are acting assertively, powerfully, and it's not going well, just ask yourself if you're being a bit too domineering or demanding. Otherwise, I'm getting a really good feeling, Sag. Take charge, take your power back, be on top of stuff, be dynamic. Let this card just like rock through you and say, I'm taking life by the horns here. Sometimes you got to do that. So it's an empowering time. Capricorn. And I pulled a Capricorn card. All right, power. Very nice. 4 of discs. Security, stability, structure, foundation, money, paychecks, retirement funds, foundation of the house. Sometimes a bit lonely. It's about the only thing. If you look at it, this is an aerial view of a castle. There's 4 towers. There's a moat around. There's a drawbridge in the front. And the courtyard is empty. We don't know who's living in the towers. On the towers are the 4 elements. It's an extremely strong castle that you're building. So keep whatever in place for this sense of stability and security. And if you're finding it a little bit lonely or isolating, then invite people to join you. Otherwise, everything is looking pretty good. And if you do need to fix anything structurally or foundationally, now's the time to do that. But it's looking pretty strong for you. Very nice time ahead. You can be very productive because of that. And Aquarius. Oh. Aquarius, we got the 3 of Swords. So there's been some sort of heartbreak or loss. Saturn and Libra, communication, diplomacy has broken down, or there is none. There's a need to, again, just like Libras, there's a need to communicate and not hold things in and say them in a good way, in a firm, fair way. Otherwise, this is usually the card of a lot of sorrow. You know, it's a broken heart. So if you're feeling brokenhearted right now, then I really highly recommend that you see somebody and help you through this, because I know how hard it is for Aquarius to feel their emotions and show people their emotions. But if you're feeling this down, you might need to reach out for some help. And yeah, it's a very simple message, but it's a powerful one. If you can save whatever that relationship is, it's time to do it. You have to be honest. You have to be upfront and honest and accountable for your part, and say what you really truly feel. Because Libra is the advice this month, right? Mercury in Libra. Mercury in Libra is like a very good mediator or lawyer. They go in and they listen to your side. They listen to your side. What I hear you saying is what I'm thinking, what I want, what I hear you want. Saturn in Libra, the sorrow card is where it all breaks down. Nobody's saying anything. Everybody's being very shallow and surfacey, and that's not what's going to help. It's it feels a bit like it's now or never. You know, if you want to save this relationship or this whatever you're feeling like you're going to lose, you have to talk openly right now, or you could lose it. All right, Pisces. Okay. Pisces, you've got the magician, the female side kind of magician. So this means it's a good time for you to be manifesting stuff. Bring back your meditation, your yoga, your prayer. Write down what you want. There's a bit of, you know, doing something about it, and a bit of trusting the universe and trusting your intuition to manifest things. It's a good time to start, you know, anything new. even though you've got Neptune in your sign and you've got stuff in Virgo, which is opposite, but for some reason I'm getting a feeling it's a good time for you to set something in motion that's supposed to last throughout the fall and the winter. Even if it's slow going, because it might start slowly, but we want you to plant the seed and start doing something about it now. And you're going to see good results by the spring. All right, my dears. I really hope that you have a good new moon period, and we'll be back again for the full moon and the readings for the month of October. If you want to reach me for a private reading, it's river.rain.info or Clairvoyant Medium Catherine Allen on Facebook. And if you're also looking for astrology courses or tarot courses, I'll have online courses running on my website. All right, so I shall see you in a couple weeks.